What if I told you two men walked into one of America's most prestigious art museums, tied up the security guards, and walked out with 13 priceless masterpieces worth $500 million, and were never caught? In the next 8 minutes, you are going to see exactly how the largest art theft in human history happened in just 81 minutes, why the FBI has never recovered a single painting, and why the empty frames are still hanging on the museum walls today, exactly where the stolen art used to be. Because this is not just a story about stolen paintings. This is the story of the perfect crime that has haunted investigators for over 3 decades, and the $500 million worth of art that simply vanished into thin air. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum sits in the Fenway neighborhood of Boston, Massachusetts. It was built in 1903 by Isabella Stewart Gardner herself, an eccentric Boston socialite who spent decades traveling the world, collecting some of the most extraordinary works of art ever created. Rembrandt, Vermeer, Degas, Manet, Flink. She filled her museum with masterpieces, and then did something almost nobody else had ever done. She left instructions in her will that nothing inside the museum could ever be moved, sold, or changed after her death. The collection was frozen exactly as she left it, forever. Which meant that on the night of March 18th, 1990, when 2 men dressed as police officers knocked on the museum's side entrance door just after midnight, the security inside was managed by just 2 guards, and one of them buzzed them in. The 2 men told the guards they were responding to a disturbance call. One guard,
"Officers, what can I do for you tonight? Just checking in on things. Everything okay in here?"
Rick Abbott, buzzed them through the security door without calling for backup or verifying their identities. Within seconds, both guards were handcuffed, bound with duct tape, and secured to pipes in the basement. Before leaving them, one of the thieves told the guards, "Don't worry, you'll be all right." Then they went to work. For the next 81 minutes, the 2 men moved through the museum with extraordinary calm. They cut paintings directly from their frames, carefully wrapped the pieces in cloth, and loaded them into a waiting car outside. They took 13 pieces in total: 3 Rembrandts, a Vermeer, 5 Degas sketches, a Manet, a Flink, and a bronze eagle finial from the top of a Napoleonic flag. The total estimated value was approximately $500 million. By 1:48 in the morning, they were gone. At 8:15 the following morning, a new shift of guards arrived and found their colleagues still handcuffed in the basement. Police were called. The FBI was notified. Within hours, the museum was swarming with investigators. The thieves had left almost no forensic evidence, no fingerprints, no DNA, no clear footage from the museum's outdated security cameras, which recorded onto a time-lapse VHS tape that proved almost useless for identification. The one thing investigators did have was the movements of the thieves, captured by the museum's internal motion sensors. A digital record of exactly where they went and in what order. But they had no idea who the men were. The FBI launched one of the longest investigations in the Bureau's history. Over 3 decades, investigators pursued hundreds of leads across the United States and Europe. They followed trails into the Boston criminal underworld, the Irish Republican Army, the Italian Mafia, and international art trafficking networks. The museum offered a $5 million reward, later raised to $10 million, for information leading to the recovery of the art. No reward in art theft history has ever been larger. Nobody ever claimed it. The most compelling theory among investigators pointed toward the New England criminal underworld, specifically figures connected to the Boston mob. Some investigators believe the paintings had passed through multiple criminal hands over the years, making them increasingly difficult to trace. In 2013, the FBI announced that they had identified the thieves, two men connected to the Boston criminal underworld. But both men were already dead, and no art was recovered. The paintings have never been found. Here is the detail that makes this story unlike almost any other art theft in history. Because of Isabella Stewart Gardner's original instructions that nothing inside the museum could ever be changed, the empty frames from which the paintings were cut still hang on the museum walls today. Visitors walk past them every day. Empty gold frames. Blank spaces where masterpieces once hung. Small labels beneath them describing the works that used to be there. The museum has kept them exactly where they were, not as a symbol of defeat, but as a promise, a placeholder, waiting for the paintings to come back. But here is what this story is actually about. It is not really about stolen paintings, unsolved investigations, or $500 million. It is about the strange relationship between human beings and the things we decide are priceless. Those paintings, a Vermeer, 3 Rembrandts, a Manet, are not useful. You cannot eat them. You cannot spend them. And they are extraordinarily difficult to sell without being immediately identified and seized. Whoever took them has been unable to enjoy them publicly for more than 30 years. They cannot display them. They cannot sell them through legitimate channels. They cannot share them with the world. The art is simultaneously worth $500 million and almost completely worthless to whoever holds it. It exists in a strange limbo, too valuable to sell, too recognizable to show, too famous to disappear. And yet somewhere, in a basement, a warehouse, or a private collection nobody knows about, 5 Degas sketches, 3 Rembrandts, and a Vermeer may still exist, waiting. The Gardner Museum still offers its $10 million reward. The FBI still lists the case as active, and the empty frames still hang on the museum walls in Boston. Gold borders around blank spaces where some of the greatest art ever created used to be. Every day, visitors stand in front of those empty frames and try to imagine what used to hang there. And somewhere, in a location nobody has managed to find in more than 30 years, the answer to that question may be sitting in a room that has never been searched. $500 million worth of art, still missing, still waiting. If this kind of story keeps you up at night the way it keeps us up, there are more where this came from. Every week on StickFiles, we go deeper into the cases that broke the rules, the crimes that defied explanation, and the mysteries that nobody has fully solved yet. Hit subscribe so you never miss the next one, because trust me, the next case is even stranger than this one.